talking right now about some things, and one of them is there was in 2008 supposed to be a citizens review of CPS and their dealings. And so Misty's sending me the link right now, and I think this is something that we should talk about. We should also be talking about the best interest of the child and how this plays into the best interest of the child, and what we need to be doing, I think, and what I've seen in my research is that there's really no federal definition, and every state uses arbitrary language, and definition of the best interest of the child can be, very
multifaceted.
That's why we keep on having the issues we're having. How are you doing, Min? Problem, not yours. Hello, everybody. Yeah, here's Ryan. Here's Hi. But I wanted to come on right now because we're getting some information, and there's a lot going on, and I understand that both of you have some things you would like to discuss tonight, and I would like to hear from both of you.
Well, what I have going, I've got so many things going on. Somebody told me the other day, like, excuse me, she said, you can't chase more than one rabbit. And I said, well, that's true, but you can only chase one at a time. So I'm chasing like 10 bunnies, basically. I talked to Dale earlier about what I've got going on here, and about how we're making our lists and everything, and just really kind of taking a lot of time to do a lot of reflecting, and like that's been the message that I've been getting. That's been the message that Francine has been getting. My other half has been getting the same message. Like wintertime, I think we discussed a little bit, wintertime is just kind of going to be like hibernation time period, and really just regroup and refocus, and like get everything really, really intricately organized. And so
organization, I agree completely.
Yeah,
we're going to be each doing our part in this organization, and I've been thinking about a lot of the factors that are playing into society right now, and how what we are doing when we get it organized is going to play a big part in social change, because I hear a lot of arguments about what about me kind of deal. I mean, we're doing this even on the national level with for sexual abuse in the workplace. And, it's like everything but our children and families being destroyed is being put out in the public. And we've got to come up with something that's going to bring the focus to children and families and how they're being destroyed.
So here's about it, and what I want to do is I want to get with you guys, and I want to get essay topics, as far as, because down here I have the beautification thing going in the school across the street. And so I'm going to be writing an essay in relation to something having to do with that. I want to get with you guys and then write an essay having to do with the specifics of the coalition. I want to get with, everybody, and just kind of gather the resources, the immediate resources of how I think Misty and I spoke about it being a ministry, because with it being a ministry, that ties us down to like nothing. That's like completely freedom of belief, and we are entitled to that. And I think that's perfect. And Dale was like right on, like he's really excited about that. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's going to come out back.
Awesome. No, I saw it. It said it.
Did it say it right? That's
Yeah.
my wait, let me turn it over a
Kind
little
of.
bit bigger on this side.
Uh-huh. Yep. Sounds good. That's beautiful. And so here's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to make sure it was okay, which I'm sure it's going to be. A lady drove by my house the other day, and she lives further down the street. And she drove by. My mom were sitting on the front porch, and she stopped, and she was like, "I'm so glad that you moved into this neighborhood." She said the house just looks absolutely amazing. She said it's starting to look like the old neighborhood again. And so that was, yes, yes. And so what I want to do, because I pick up a lot of litter in my yard and in the side yard. And so my next project that I'm going to be doing while I'm putting my list of, what I'm going to formulate to have done here in the area going, I'm going to make a sign that I'm going to stake in the abandoned lot. And we have a thing here in Louisiana where it's rep your city or rep your hood, throw your hood up, something like that. And so what I'm going to put on the sign is represent your city, and then the REP, I'm going to have it in quotations. So represent your city, don't litter, it's trashy, something like that. And I wanted to, yes, and I wanted to ask if it was okay if I used the blue, pink, and yellow ribbon to tie those colors around the sign somehow to incorporate the ribbon on the sign.
The yellow ribbon is fine. You can use that for many different things, and just tie it if you can into the coalition, because we're talking about protecting our families and our children. And when people litter, they're destroying our environment, which is destroying our future.
Yes.
And this also ties into Earth College, and I mean it's see the thing that and I hope that Ryan is still here listening, but the thing that
I'm listening.
this is a really big project that began in 1996. And I had to formulate a lot of information and translate a lot of information and learn things and go through the experiences that I went through, losing my children and understanding the social paradox that we live in. And it is a paradox because on the one hand, we want to live and survive and thrive, but on the other hand, socially, we're dying. We don't have social connections. We don't have communities working together. We don't have communities helping families. We don't have, and we have garbage that's being thrown all over the place, total disregard for our environment, which then goes to, you look at the disaster in Texas and the disaster in Louisiana and the disaster in Puerto Rico and the disasters all over the world, the entire world. And it all comes back to, what are we as parents understanding is for the safety of our children and the well-being of families and children. And it goes way beyond abusive situations, thank you, Misty, and way beyond drugs and problems like that. It goes to the way that society lives. And I've been looking into the definition or the lack of definition for the well-being of the child, right? The best interest of the child. And if we were to really look at the definition, and we can create a definition as citizens of this country, we can create the definition for the best interest of the children and the child, and we can create it to be exactly what it needs to be for the environment, for our families, and for our communities, and for society. We can do that. And so, you know, I've looked at several definitions that are kind of generally used in states, but they aren't used in every state and they aren't used explicitly.
Well,
And
the other thing is self responsibility. People need
yes,
to learn how to be responsible, not only, you know, for their actions, and their actions, you know, definitely speak a lot about them.
I'm
And
sorry, I'm going to move into the other room. I'll be right back. I'm listening. I'm just turning the video off. Sorry.
Okay, it's all
it's
right.
all right. So yeah, I'm saying self responsibility. Like I see, like I'm seeing where um, I'm going to speak a little bit about the movement. I'm seeing there is no self responsibility with parents right now in the movement. It's either the father's fault or the mother's fault right now. I don't know if you guys have been seeing that.
I've noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then if you notice today, I bit back, and because the father's rights, you know, well, look at the statement of father's rights. Wait, this isn't a mother's father's thing. This is an all parents thing, all family members. We all
Yep.
need to take responsibility for our part in it. And when you know you dump your part off on somebody else, then you're at fault. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. And I'll bounce off of that because I went to court. I was cleaning my house the other day and I got a letter in the mail stating that I had to go back to court at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like I literally got it 15 minutes before I had to be to court. And I went, and the father of my children is back in custody. He didn't do anything that he was supposed to uphold his end as far as responsibilities are concerned. And that is something that I have noticed when I have gotten to sit in on some of these other parental issue cases. Okay. And it's like there is no, well, okay, it's come and go. Some of the a father or two that I have seen have been taking responsibility for not only themselves, but, you know, bringing both perspectives in, while the mother has been completely inept in any kind of upholding her responsibility in it. When I went in time before last, you know, I said, look, I'm not doing this out of malicious intent. You know, I was wrong. He was wrong. I can play the victim all day. I'm not doing that anymore. But the cycle had to stop. And I think that is something that is very, very important right now, is the fact that a lot of parents are still so caught up in resentment towards the other parent, that even when a judge is being a mediator for the situation, it's just like I can't even imagine having that job and going home at the end of the day and like replaying all of that crap like over and over of just watching two children basically fight over children. And it's
It's impeding their ability to be a parent. That's what it's doing.
yeah,
And that, you know, the focus came off the kids into the he said, she said bullshit game. Excuse my French,
it
but
is
that's
what it
exactly
is.
what it's turned into. And it's really hard because I'm watching parents do that even in the movement. And I can't help but have my two pennies in it.
Hi there, everybody. I want to just take this moment to welcome all of you here. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Parent Advocate Protection of Children and Families. And we are here tonight to really discuss the lack of
Please
definition
mute your
of
mic so we
domestic
can hear
for
others.
children. And so I would like to please start with some rules here. If everyone would please mute themselves unless you are on the floor talking, and if we could all give a introduction first, and then give everybody a chance to respond when you do speak. But when you do introduce yourself, I would like it if you could please keep it to a short little introduction. Thank you very much. Are we ready to do that yet? So we would like to actually, Ryan and Mim started, we were discussing some of the issues around responsibility and around people taking responsibility for their part in the relationship and the issues regarding relationship. It is hard to be in a relationship with somebody else. It is difficult to learn about somebody's idiosyncrasies and someone else's behavior pattern, and sometimes we don't click totally, but we want to try. And that takes adjustment and acceptance and respect. And when things fall apart, there's a lack of that acceptance and respect in some manner. However, it transfers into reality, whether it be abuse or neglect, whatever. And so we want to talk about, right now, everybody wants to argue about somebody else being responsible for something, and we're talking about taking responsibility for our own shit. So I'm going to take responsibility for my shit. My shit is that I'm a quadruple Aries, and I have had some issues with not following along with somebody else's perception of reality, and it got me in trouble. It got me in trouble in ways that I should not have reacted towards. I reacted inappropriately, and I wish that I had known, had been given the skills and tools to resolve issues in a more peaceful and non-violent manner, verbally violent, or whatever you want to call it. And so, I do accept my responsibility for my part in that. And I would like to just give the floor to Ryan. He was talking a little bit more about the responsibilities. I gotta unmute you. Hold on.
There you go. There you go. He's good.
Are we all here?
Now you're unmuted.
Okay, cool. So that's my responsibility. My other responsibility is that I can become overbearing at times, and so it has been presented. Like you, I also have flaws too late, and so yeah, that's me. And so I think we should kind of just go with our taking responsibility, Lyra. What do you think?
Well, so this is also about healing.
Mm-hmm.
This is about us healing as individuals when we are hurting, because everybody is hurting. And we hurt whether we're the abuser or the victim. Because when our children are taken away from us, that is horrible. It is traumatic, no matter what position you are in as a parent. And it is necessary for us to understand, I believe, that this is not something that is just acceptable if you're the victim, because everybody hurts, everybody feels the loss, everybody feels the pain. And although some behavior is unacceptable and should not be allowed to continue, it does not necessarily mean that the child should never see their parent again.
Absolutely, I would 100% agree with that statement.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
I think that parents, I think parents really need to put their self hatred towards each other off to the side because you know, you're taking the focus off the kids. My problem is I'm so focused on my kids that, you know, my partner suffers because my kids come before anything else. You know, that's my issue, is that I am so focused on the kids, and I still am. We got to do what's right by them, got to do what's right. It's 100% what's right by them. And you know, I wish other parents were more like that, because I didn't have problems in my divorce. I had more of the problems with CPS. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does, Ryan.
Anybody else?
I'm sorry, I
Or
muted
did everybody?
myself again. I don't know.
I'm just wondering if I'm talking to myself. I mean, we have Mim here, we have we
Well,
have Maria.
here's my thing. Like the other day when I went to court and the father of my children was sitting next to me, you know, I mentioned to the judge is giving him another chance to do his classes and to do what he is required to do in order to have at first supervised visitations. And then, you know, I was telling my children the other day, and keep in mind for those of you that have just now met me here on this platform, I went through a very abusive situation with the father of my children, and I had 6.5 hours of reconstructive surgery on my face because of him. Um, but I mentioned to the judge, you know, I said, look, the children have been asking about him, and because we have not been able to locate him through his probation, his parole officer, we have these letters that we've written to him, and we can't get them to him. And when I said that, he started crying. And when he started crying, I started crying, because my thing is this, like, even though I'm not in love with him anymore, I still have that one love for him, because my children deserve to have a responsible father in their life. They also deserve to have a responsible mother, and I deserve to have my children in my life, and their father deserves to have them in his life also. I had, okay, so we're owning up, we're taking responsibility, right? So I have a tendency to be very impulsive. I have a tendency to talk more than I listen. I have a tendency to feel more than use my intuition. And my feelings are what gets me in trouble every single time. Like, I can say, oh, to my other half now, you know, I'm so in love with you. Oh, I love you. Oh, I missed you, all the past lives. And he goes, okay, you know, put your feelings under a rock, because even though we're in a relationship now and we're in a romantic relationship, he's still a teacher of mine. He is still teaching me things, and the message, whatever message needs to come through from whatever teacher, is then very distorted by what? By feelings. And so I have a tendency to be very over emotional. But let's see, Maria says that she is trying to get sound. So anyway, the point is, yes, I was very hurt by him sitting next to me and basically begging for mercy the other day. And I did not speak to him, but I looked at him. And when I looked at him, he saw that I'm not playing at this point in time. He knows what he's done. He knows what I've done. We were in the relationship with each other for 9 years. We know each other. However, he does not know who I am today, and that's okay, because my actions are reflecting on the type of individual that I am today, which is a authoritative parent. And there's nothing wrong with being an authoritative parent, as long as it's followed up by responsibility and there's no neglect for the children or for the self. And so I'm going to give the floor to somebody else now.
Thank you, ma'am. So not Maria, I'm sorry. Pamela, you are here tonight to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
And
having me.
welcome, welcome. Please.
I'm in my jammies, guys, but thank goodness it looks like everyone else is relaxing. That's nice to see. I'm on my second day of a cluster migraine, so forgive me. I'm not at my best.
I understand those migraines, so.
Listening to the three of you, full disclosure, therapist and a counselor, was a nurse for a long time too. So every single one of you are going through something that's so normal. If you weren't experiencing and expressing these specific feelings that you're all going through as you walk through this process, I would be shocked, or I'd have to call you all liars. Going through a relationship without CPS in your life is difficult enough. Walking through a disintegration of a relationship with CPS involved almost feels like a 9/11 terrorist attack of the soul. It's something new and horrific every single day. And it's not just you and the person you're breaking up with, now it's also your children that are involved.
I call it more like World War III.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would totally agree with that. I listen to men and women on a daily basis. My days have been running 12, 14, 16. Friday was an 18-hour day. Cry their pain into my soul. I was blessed not to have to walk the lake of fire that you guys are walking through. I am in awe of people who not only walk this, but keep their presence of mind to continue walking and fighting. I don't know how people ask me, how on earth do you do this day after day? I have the easy job. All I have to do is listen and do the best I can to get the resources to people who are reaching out to me asking for help. Give them a little guidance, give them a little counseling, find out what resources they need. You guys have the hard job. Having to constantly weigh yourself, and I know you all do it and you're not supposed to, judge yourself. Every action, every thought, every deed. Am I doing right? Did I do that right? Was I too hard? Was I too strong? Was I too soft? Am I giving too much? Am I not giving enough? That has to be a burden that is so exhausting to carry that the best thing I can tell all of you is get it the hell off your backs immediately. Get it off. Stop putting everything on a scale and judging. Is this right? Because CPS is already judging you enough. And they're wrong judgments. I don't know any parent that could meet any of their qualifiers of what they consider to be the perfect book parent and still be a human being. We would all end up being robots of some sort with no emotions whatsoever. And no matter the most perfect of parents, if any of you watched Victoria's Libertas last night and you saw the Black family, what a beautiful couple they are. How educated, what a beautiful job they were doing with their 4 children and what CPS did to them anyway. This is not a judgment on you. CPS has no right to make you second guess who you know you are. As Maria was just saying, and then Jedi said, you're constantly re-looking at what could I have done better? What should I have said? Maybe I should have done this. You start doing the what if game. The minute you start doing the what if game, you've now walked away from the human being that you are. And now you're walking into more of what they want you to become in this stiff, emotionless, robotic mom, robotic dad that only does everything by defunct science that is psychology anyway. Half those, pardon my French, SOBs, have no clue what they're talking about. Most of them don't even have children, and most of them, sorry Jedi, are men whose wives are raising their children. They're probably on their second or third wife anyway.
Okay, you know what? Hold on. Stop for a minute. Stop for a minute. I am just going to openly tell you I am a transgendered parent, but technically I'm not transgendered, and I will be very clear about this. I was born with both genders at birth. My mom raised me as female. As I became an adult, I moved to the male side.
Cool.
So I have very mixed feelings. I know transition. I actually shouldn't even call it transition. I should know both. Like, I was a great parent. Even CPS was like appalled at me, and they said they'd never seen a parent like me because I understood what girls were going through and understood what the boys were going through. It was a perfect combination. and they said they didn't have a problem with how I parented. In the end, it was what the people that were in my home did. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Even though I put a stop to it, it was still the people in my home that caused the problem.
But look what they just made you answer to. Something you should never, by the way, have to answer to. Never.
Correct.
You should
I
never
lost.
have to answer to that or question yourself on it. When I was talking about psychology and the male-female dichotomy, most of these men who are writing out these manuals, if you will, guidelines that CPS goes by, they use a hard male-female dichotomy. I'm not like most women. I'm not a big crier. I mother probably different than each of the women here mother. I probably mother different than Jedi mothers in his female side, which hermaphrodites are really lucky, and I'm really jealous because you literally get the experience of both sides. I mean, I'm a Gemini, but to be a hermaphrodite Gemini would be like uber cool.
Or
Most
transgender, as the term here is being used. I do want to.
right. Sorry, I'm a nurse, so sorry. I don't say things to offend. I end up
I'm
becoming
not
more
offended,
medically
though.
appropriate.
That's just it.
And
That's what's hard is most people, they'll say, use the word hermaphrodite. The technical term for it now, guys, is intersex.
Oh, learned something new. Okay, I did not know that. Thank you.
You know, I want to say real quick that, I talk about that quite often because at this point in time, I'm still technically a single parent. I'm a single mom. And I always like to show off whenever my soon-to-be fiance, I would hope, comes around because I get to show off mommy skills. And see, I am not transgender. I'm female, born female. I'm a woman, okay? And so I still get to play that mommy daddy role. I still get to really think about what I lacked in the father sector when I was a child and how I would have appreciated my father to have been, had he have been able to have done a better job. My father raped me when I was 6 years old, and it's okay because it was part of the process. It was part of the walk. It was part of what brought me to be who I am today and what took me into the other lessons that I believe I chose to go through in order to have more empathy on the human race at this point in time. And
it was okay. I mean, rape is not okay, especially.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay. It is not okay, However, I say it's okay because I have been able to forgive him and I have been able to forgive myself for all of the snowball effects that stemmed from that. There's a lot of individuals who are still suffering with that, and I understand that. And I'm not apologizing, but I do want to put out there that I'm not trying to make it like rainbow unicorn farts or anything, because no, it's not okay. It was horrific. It really screwed me up, but here I am, and I have my children, and I get to play the mom, and I get to play the dad. I have a son, and I have a daughter, and so there are certain things that I do with my son that a father would, in my view, would say or do with him, and the same with my daughter. I remind her value. I remind her how men are supposed to treat women. This is why it took me over a year before I allowed my other half to even be introduced into my children's lives, because that is a mistake that I have made in the past, and it is something that I watched my father do, was jump from woman to woman, and it was something that I didn't watch my mother do. And so there was confusion with both of that. And so in my opinion, I don't really believe it matters if you're a male, if you're a female, if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're transgender. We all have that capability to be a mother or father figure because we are a parent. It's a unit. I'll say this in closing. Last night I went to watch the meteor shower out at the observatory here, And Isaac and I stood there and we meditated and spoke to the universe as one single unit. There was no gender at that point in time. It was just energy that was being built. And so we all have that capacity to hold either that masculine or that feminine energy, regardless of sex and birth.
I would agree with
That was
that.
awesome.
And I would like to apologize that I have a connection where I only get a 45-minute section, and then I have to close this meeting and reopen it. It would cost me $14.99 if I did the extended plan through Zoom. It is great to have this free software where we can communicate and talk about experiences and process and heal. And we're working on a Patreon account for members to become involved with and become a part of the team that helps to counsel and enable parents to work through CPS and other family issues, whether it be through court or through relationship issues. A lot of what the Coalition for the Protection of Children and Families is about is creating a environment for families to stay together, to work together, whether the mother and father are able to stay together as a couple, that they can still co-parent their children in an adult manner. And what we have seen over and over again is that parents do not act in an adult manner as much as they would like to, because the education isn't there. The education is not in our elementary schools, it's not in our middle schools, it's not in our high schools, and children are having babies all of the time, and they have no idea how to be a parent, and their parents are disowning them. And you know, these are some of the issues that we want to help parents discuss and work towards.
Well, one of the issues that we have is kids learn from what they see.
Yeah.
And if we don't act as adults in their lives and as parents in their lives, don't act like the adults and don't act like the parents and show them a different way, this is societal breakdown at its best.
Yes.
And you know, I grew up in a broken home. My wife didn't. We're just stubborn enough to keep fighting through it. 20 years, yay us. So, you know, you don't see that. It's rare. But, you know, we do what works for us. Whether at the time when we stuck together was probably bad. I will openly admit it, because we did fight quite a bit at times. But we're not teaching our children to work through the problems. We're teaching our children to run from the problems. We're not teaching our children how to cooperate with each other. We're teaching them to give up and walk away. That is exactly what we're doing, and I'm seeing this over and over and over. I have a 29-year-old daughter that just got a divorce, and wow, that was a mess. Now I have a young boy that I know. Well, actually, he's not a young boy. He's a grown man, but I met him when he was a boy, and I call him my adoptive son, and he's going through divorce. And my adoptive daughter's going through divorce, and they don't know how to be co-parents with their partners, and it's really difficult. And now now they're 28 and 27, and I'm having to be the parent going, okay, we're going to do this way. And it's hard. It's really hard.
Yes, it is, Ryan, and thank you for your perspective. I really appreciate it. All of you, thank you so much for joining. And if you want to participate further, we can talk further. I just have to close this room and open it again. So, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to talk some more? We could talk some more. I mean,
I think this is good for everybody.
Yeah?
I'm down.
I haven't done it in a long time with you guys because I've been very busy attacking human traffickers.
Yes,
Well done.
It's terrible.
Okay, just a quick hand, guys. This is Maria. Just finally downloaded the app and was able to now see everyone, and I can't figure out my cameras.